Dear students, greetings to all. In this module, we'll be continuing with our ongoing chapter 6, Life Processes of Biology. In the last video lecture, we were talking about the nutrition in human beings and we had discussed the process of digestion of food by discussing on the movement of food from the mouth to the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and how the digestion of food is facilitated in the stomach. Through today's slide presentation, we'll try to have a look on how does small intestine, large intestine play a pivotal role in the process of digestion in human body. Firstly, we'll discuss about some of the main digestive enzymes which are found in our body. As discussed earlier, mouth has the salivary glands which secrete the enzyme salivary amylase. The salivary glands are exocrine glands in nature. There's a very short distance between the site and target, and there are ducts which carry the secretion to the target. The action of salivary amylase, it is very specific for pH and temperature. It is most active at pH 6.8. The body temperature being 37 degrees centigrade. It will help to break down starch, which is a polysaccharide, into maltose, which is a disaccharide sugar, which is made up of glucose units. Glucose is the monosaccharide form and maltose is the disaccharide. Talking about the next gland, there is the stomach. Stomach basically secretes the gastric juice comprising of pepsin, HCl and mucus. This enzyme pepsin, it helps to break down proteins into peptides and peptones. HCl is required to maintain acidic pH in the stomach and it also helps to kill the microorganisms. Now this acidic pH is required for the activity of the enzyme pepsin. We know that enzymes, they are biocatalysts in nature and they are very specific for temperature and pH. HCl will help to create, so hydrochloric acid in the stomach will help to create a pH 2.2 which is highly acidic, but it is required for the activity of the enzyme pepsin. Now this HCl or the acid which is produced in the stomach can rupture the wall of the stomach and therefore it is lined up with mucus so as to prevent rupturing of the inner walls of the stomach which could lead to bleeding. Moving on to the next gland, there is the pancreas which is an heterocrine gland. It will release amylase, trypsin and lipase which will help to break down the amylase which will help to break down starch into maltose. Trypsin will help to break down proteins into peptides and lipase will help to break down fat, that is lipids, into fatty acids and glycerol. Pancreas are referred to as heterocrine gland. This is because the pancreas secrete both the enzymes as well as hormones. Now the hormones which are released are insulin and glucagon. We have heard that because of the improper functioning of this hormone insulin, it leads to diabetes mellitus. Now moving on to the other important gland, that is we need to talk about the small intestine. Now small intestine will release the secretions referred to as succus entericus which comprises of the lipase, maltase, sucrase and peptidase which helps to break down the fats. Fats are complex molecule which break down into fatty acids and glycerol. Maltose is a disaccharide which breaks down into monosaccharide, that is glucose. Sucrose is again a disaccharide which will break down into monosaccharide, glucose and fructose. And peptidase, they'll help to break down the peptides, that is the small proteins, into the simplest form of protein, that is the amino acids. Now let us talk about the structure of the small intestine. As can be seen in the diagrammatic representation over here, that it has got finger-like projections which are present, which are referred to as villi. They are richly supplied with blood capillaries, and these villi, they help to increase the surface area of, which is required for the process surface area of absorption. Because the function of small intestine is to carry out the complete digestion of food, that is to break down carbohydrates, complex sugars into simple sugars, protein into its simplest form, that is amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Small intestine, that's the longest part of the alimentary canal. The tube, the length of the tube is 6 meters. Now when we talk about this villi, they also contain the lymph vessels, and lymph which is flowing through the lymph vessels carry the digested absorbed fat from the intestine. The lymph vessels will open up into the veins, and the rest of the absorbed digested food is carried by blood into the blood capillaries to various body tissues. Now, talking about the absorption in the small intestine. The process is very important, that is absorption of the food. Finally, its assimilation and then its digestion. So the starch molecule, as we can see, is a polysaccharide. It breaks down into glucose, that's a monosaccharide, with the help of the enzymes, that is amylases. So amylase is the enzyme which helps to break down the complex sugar into its simplest form. We can see that there is a lining of blood vessels, and the cells of the intestinal wall, they've got the hair-like structures which help to increase the surface area of absorption. After the food has got absorbed, the next stage involves the assimilation of food. It's the final stage of digestion, where the soluble food is absorbed into the bloodstream, and it is used to provide energy and materials to the entire body for the growth and repair of the body tissues. Talking about assimilation, the glucose, the function of glucose is to provide energy. It is stored in the liver and muscles. Fatty acids and glycerol are other source of energy, and they are stored in the liver as well as underneath the skin. The fat cells, they are referred to as adipocytes, and the fatty tissue is the adipose tissue. The amino acids, that is the proteins, they form an important part of the body. They help in the wear and tear of the body. That means they help to repair the damages of the body, and they help in the formation of enzymes and hormones which are protein in nature. We know that all enzymes are protein, but all proteins are not enzyme. So proteins have got vital function in the human body. Amino acids are necessary, that is the constituent of protein, are necessary for the growth and development of the body. The last step next is the digestion, which involves the removal of the undigested food or the waste. The undigested food or the waste from the large intestine moves from the small intestine moves into the large intestine, where water is absorbed from them, and a semi-solid waste is formed, which is referred to as the fetus. It is stored in the large intestine. The part is referred to as the rectum, and finally it is sent out of the body through the anus. So here it's a detailed pictorial view of how the process of digestion is facilitated in the body. Ingestion of food takes place. The opening which will allow the food to move in is the mouth. In the mouth, 90% of the carbohydrates, they get digested. The polysaccharides break down into disaccharides. After the process of digestion in the stomach, the process takes place in the small intestine. Finally, complete digestion takes place in the small intestine, and the process of absorption of water takes place in the large intestine. Now, after the food has got digested, it will get absorbed and assimilated to various body parts where it will be utilized as the ATP, that's the energy currency, to provide energy for carrying out the various metabolic activities. The remaining waste, as we can see, is moving to the large intestine, the part, rectum, and then finally through the opening that is anus. It will help to carry out the egestion of the waste, which is also referred to as the process of defecation. Now let us have a view of all the organs which play a pivotal role in the process of digestion. Now the food is taken through the opening which is referred to as the mouth. It moves into the salivary gland where there is presence of salivary gland which will release saliva, which will help to break down the carbohydrates into simple sugars. The food then moves from the pharynx into the food pipe, that is the esophagus. In the pharynx, there is presence of a flap-like structure called as epiglottis, which helps to prevent the entry of food into the respiratory tract. After the food has moved from the esophagus into the stomach by the peristaltic motion, the digestion of the remaining food, that is the remaining carbohydrate, the proteins and the fats will take place in the stomach. The liver will produce the bile juice which is required for the breakdown of fat, that is emulsification of fat, as well as for the providing alkaline condition for the activity of the pancreatic enzymes. Pancreas will secrete the pancreatic lipase, amylase and protease, which will help to break down carbohydrates, proteins and fats into its simpler moiety in the small intestine. Small intestine comprises of three parts, that is duodenum, jejunum and ileum. The food then moves into the large intestine, which comprises of the parts referred to as the cecum, colon and the rectum part. Finally, the food is eliminated through the opening which is referred to as the anus. So in this module, we had carried out a detailed discussion on nutrition in human beings, that is how the process of digestion is facilitated in case of human beings. So this was the overall view. Hopefully, you must have garnered all the concepts related to the process of digestion in human beings very thoroughly. Thank you.